Hello there, beautiful Ascension Pioneers, and welcome to this latest mid-month Ascension update with me. And this is going to be a cosmic one yet again, so stay tuned. There will be a lot of information. This is probably going to be a very long video. I like to do it long so that I don't have to upload so many videos. You know, this takes a lot of time, this process of sharing so much. So please be patient with me as I have so much work, and a lot of times I can overwork myself, and there's a lot of people tuning in. So if you're one of those people who is sending me things you want me to look at about you personally and things like that, please understand I cannot do that on this regular basis. It's just time constraints of this physical world and this reality. I need to stay focused on what I'm doing, is to get this ascension information through, as this is the real nature of my purpose in being here. So thank you, those of you who are supporting and donating and just sharing this beautiful feedback of how you are supported with this you know, the service that I offer. So thank you so much. This is going to be, this update, a lot about this reemergence, this engaging this new life cycle, this new cosmic cycle. And there's going to be information on different levels. So it's quite cold outside, and I was down with the Ascension flu for a few days after so many years, and I was almost like, what? Seriously? And I'm going to share this later on the nature of body changes and so many other things in this video you can expect from different multidimensional experiences and so much. So we're going to begin at the beginning. I have lots of notes here, so again, that I don't forget anything. And I really wish to say that there's been this intensity this month, and this was this huge cycle of death. You know, even in the beginning when I shared my Ascension update for the month of December, I shared with you that there's going to be lots of this shifting of things really coming up to the surface. And a lot of the times when this happens, we might feel things are getting worse. You know, like you get the Ascension flu and you feel, what? Is it getting worse? You think it's getting worse? And so many of the patterns that are re-emerging. But the thing is that every single thing that's now coming up, it's really deep. We're getting to those aspects and layers. You know, people often say, when is it ever going to end? And it's really basically just cycles, the peelings of the onion, the layerings, and this multi-layering work that we're doing to bring things up in order to bring them back to the white light of unity. So I'm going to share something towards the end that I wish to work on, that I was guided to work on, and I hope you're going to be inspired too. But in truth, when this happens, things are not getting worse. They're just getting more intense, because you know, when something really wants to shift, sometimes as humans we will almost be pushed to the edge. It almost will feel like, how much do I need to be pushed in order to really make a change, in order to really make this shift? But the nature of all change is always organic. It's just, it transpires through this effort of just non-effort. In truth, it's like a natural progress in our evolution that in truth we don't have any control over. We have the power but no control, because the higher aspects of who we truly are, the bigger selves, and a lot of times we're just so much bigger than what we think we are. And in order to have sustenance, to have existence in this earthly body, in this template where we need to be right now, because we wouldn't be here if we didn't need to be here in our own level, requires us to have this focus on this physicality and our physical shifts. And although Ascension is a multidimensional experience, and I'm going to share this towards the end, what I'm working towards, it's also a process that, you know, requires us to be right here, right now. And there's so much light information coming at this time. You know, I didn't have so much time to just be lately, to just unplug. There were little moments of this because there was a lot of this stressful energy coming in, this energy of so much information at once, you know, and so many physical things and shifts. And you know, I can be too perfectionist at times, and I want to finish everything at once and fast. And you know, patience is something that I really am allowing myself in this lifetime to perfectly embody, because we cannot be perfect, we cannot be perfectionists. This is not who we are. You know, we need to allow the bigger things, the bigger cycles to unfold the way they want to, the way they naturally happen, without us needing to control things. And a lot of times when this happened for me, I was just too stressed and too overwhelmed. There was too many people connecting and things, and I just had to go like, you know, when you have this coming at the end of the cliff, when you really need to know, you have to make that jump. And for me, that was really good and beneficial, because sometimes on that pivotal leaps, when we peek into that experience, we're ready to make that change. We sometimes make those drastic decisions, those choices that are going to support our new life. They're going to sustain us in that new version of who are becoming more and more. But this is not something that's new. It's something that we already are, but in our experience self, it is new, if you know what I mean. So with this, lots of stress coming through, it's not just about the holiday season, you know, things like that. It's because there's this blending of realities. There's so much happening in this, like I said, this light information. Lately, I just sit outside in nature and there's so much coming through, and it's the same in the physical. It's the physical always mirrors what is there in energy, so it can feel very overwhelming at this time, especially as we're moving towards the solstice, which is our actual new year. You know, the solstice really means when the soul, the sun, stands still at its point. So this is really this period between the solstice and Christmas, the Christ in Mass, which we're really awakening within. This is the period of when we truly are preparing for this new year. And this period is now so intense, and so many people are feeling it, and they're sharing this feedback with me. It's because so much is changing in the astral planes, in the physical planes. Basically, the whole of the universe is shifting. And I want to show you this as almost like translating from one level of experience into another. Is if you can imagine this, how we're traveling through this wormhole now. And I had a dream recently how I was looking at traveling through a wormhole, and it wasn't like in science fiction movies. It wasn't like this bluish hue version of it, this color. It was more like golden brownish kind of, you know, kind of spiraling through and moving through that wormhole. And I was just observing just that movement, and I remembered it as I awoke from my sleep. And this is basically how we're moving from this we're moving into this whole new space. So imagine this Earth as it is now, and this tunnel, like a funnel of light, almost like if you imagine a toroidal field of the planet, and then merging with another toroidal field of the new version of the planet. And I am working now. I received this guidance at the beginning of this week before I got the flu, and there was nothing I could do, and it rhymes, so I had to wait. And this is probably going to become available this weekend. Please stay tuned on my page, because the activation will be on the journey to New Earth. So as I got this guidance, this whole vision was revealed, and how we need to give energy to that. I'm going to share this later when I move into the actual update. It's more like a preface still. But this was shown to me, and I started singing, and they showed me it's very important to include the singing experience, because the song, the Om, this is the whole existence of creation. This is where it all begins, primarily before all else. So they showed me, and this is really important activation that I can do, that I need to do. And I was just sitting there on a cliff, as I always have these beautiful elven cliffs, and I overlook it all, nature and the mountains, and I start to sing, and it's the song of joy, of freedom, of expansion. And they showed me, they said, yeah, it's the journey to New Earth, and how we need to give energy to that. So it's, imagine these two versions of Earth, and it's just a different energy that if we're still feeding this old world, this old matrix, we're still giving it energy. But what we need to focus more now, and especially coming with the next year, is this a journey to New Earth, feeding that, the new experiences, like imagining this new energy, and us giving attention to that rather than that which we knew before, which was comfortable with us previously. So this month was this intense death cycle, but this death is bringing us this, it's because we're traveling through this wormhole, and as we're traveling into this other space of the universe, as we're moving into the another universe, and we're feeling the shifts, and they're being reflected also in the most physical sense of our daily living reality. And it feels like, oh my gosh, where are old things coming up? Like really, really old things sometimes, like really old patterns. Like, you know, for me, it was the pattern of being not always patient, like the pattern of impatience, and how this sometimes made me feel frustrated that I can't do it all in this body, and I can't do it all at once. And whenever I try, I get so overwhelmed that I can literally energetically explode. And then I get so exhausted and overworked. And I can feel almost like this needing to come to this threshold when you finally say no more. It's enough, you know. And sometimes this is a part of the experience. The issue, the challenge here was for us to no longer have the new agey, you know, approach to these patterns. Like, okay, these patterns are not good enough for us. They're like old, and we started judging them. You know, the thing is that the moment when you say to yourself, this is what Spirit showed me just yesterday, when we sometimes have these judgments over our patterns and say, oh, why am I like this? Oh, you know, it's like, oh, I go in my own nerves, or I frustrate myself with these patterns. When is it ever going to end? But the thing is that the mere judgment of the pattern it's not just all that is, but you thinking that it's bad, that it's bad to judge, again, is a judgment. So we're left to this surrendering. You know, if you're judging the judgment, fine, let it be. Don't try to control even that. When we let go, even this fact, you know, I just got this oracle yesterday saying light and dark, they're both part of this experience. And as we're traveling through this new wormhole, we're being shown all these aspects. And no matter how light we are, how highly we vibrate, we're going to get these aspects, all of them, because we're making this clean slate where there's no more judgment, even the judgment of judgment itself, if you know what I mean. This was shown to me yesterday. It was like this epiphany of how simple it is. You know, when you have this moment, you have a pattern and you start judging yourself, and then you start judging the judgment. Oh, it's bad to judge. It's even bad to do that, and it's not even bad. You know what I mean? It's just let go. If you see yourself and you say, oh, I'm talking negative to, you know, people say, don't talk negative, don't do this, don't do that. It's all still control. And until we have that, we cannot really live our enlightenment, which is just the pure, authentic essence of whatever we feel in this moment, just allowing it to be, and that's how it's going to transcend. We cannot transcend through the judgment of judgments or whatever it is themselves. It's something very basic, but this is where we're coming towards. This is what we're moving into. And we all get these moments when we judge the judgment itself. We're like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking this way. Oh, I shouldn't be doing this way. Oh, I need to have this healing done, or this and that. And the moment we do that, we embrace this part which is perfectionist, which is controlling, and we can't escape it. And this is why this work of light sometimes feels so hard and so challenging. And I asked Spirit, I said, why are we people why is the human race sometimes so complex in the way that it deals with this inner integration of the inner light? And why is it sometimes so challenging for people to step into the Christed essence? Is because of that. It's because of control, because our brain sometimes was too functional, it's too big, too rational in the way that it wanted to control everything. So it started to take the head stage instead of our soul. And the soul has all the experiences. The soul is not the same as the I am presence. The soul is the love part of our creation self, the experience self. And it had all experiences. It had from light to dark. And as we're moving through this funnel of light, as moving through these soul experiences, we need to embrace them all. And thinking that you're not a light worker or a light being or a grand being that is here, you know, some of us have these majestic missions on levels that we cannot even comprehend mentally. But we don't embrace them because we think, oh, but I'm having these patterns, I'm going through this, so I'm obviously not good enough to be that kind of being or to have that kind of essence in this form. This is where we have these entanglements, and this is where we forget. So divine remembrance is crucially important. I have this beautiful course on recognizing your galactic signature. Those of you who are doing the course are Cosmic Convergence. Only now until the end, I have a very special holiday offering where you can get Cosmic Convergence and Galactic Signature course together if you haven't yet, so hurry up, for a very reduced energy exchange. It's a very special offer. And this is something Spirit guided me, and it's very good because towards the next year, I'm going to reveal to you what I'm going to be working on next, because I had so much light information pouring through. At times I had to go, you know, these thingies like, where to write it all down. I don't always have a pen. I don't always have, it's just like epiphanies. And these come not just when I sit in nature or meditate. They just come. I might be brushing my teeth, just thinking of something, or something triggers me and I have and these aha moments. And towards the end of this year, they have magnified so much, and at the same time, the body cannot always process so much. And when we don't rest, when we don't take that time to reflect and just be, it's too much. It's too much of everything. And this is what a lot of us have been feeling, especially if you are very outgoing, very action-based being, like I am myself. A lot of times I have this fire energy, then there needs to be this balance also with other elements. So imagine this old earth, a funnel of light, like this passageway, like a wormhole, and then this new earth. You know, like I've just seen this movie Star Wars, the premiere. We went to the premiere of the new movie, and how they actually move through the wormhole to travel into another star system or region in the universe. And it's like a wormhole, and then they come in, and then they zoom out, and then they zoom in. You know, they come into this, let's say, to approach a planetary body or such. So this is kind of like that, except that it's not just on a star system level, it's on a whole galactic level. The whole galaxy is moving, the whole Milky Way galaxy is shifting. So that's why these changes that we're going through are happening naturally, because those of us who are moving with the shifts, we're just moving. And it's something that's we have no control over. We said yes, we know our vibrations are rising, we're getting this awarenesses about, and we're moving. And not everybody's moving with this, so they're going to go to another region where this energy is still what they want to experience. So like it was just shared in this Convoluted Universe book, is it 5? Yeah. This is like so epic. The last part, the last chapter, the whole universe shifts. It's like I cried reading the entire the whole chapter. It was so emotional because of the truth resonance. You know, you cry when you get tears. You know, it's the truth. And it's like the same, you know, it's like all moving, but it's not a separation with those who are not choosing, because we're never separate. It's just you need to be with the belonging frequency, otherwise it doesn't work for you, because you cannot be sustained in that frequency, which you cannot be within in your awareness and embodiment. So this light activation of Journey to Earth will be available soon, hopefully this weekend, but I cannot promise things as I think of something and then, you know, something else happens. So hopefully this weekend, if not prior to the holidays. It's going to be beautiful activation. I already got the guidance and the visuals and everything, just put it together. So let's start with the actual update, okay? So the main thing that they wanted me to remind you again is that, you know, a lot of people still think ascension is something you need to earn for or you need to pray for. You know, I got this email recently, someone paying me, they wanted me to do something to pray to them for the great goddess to solve them, to solve something for them, to redeem them, to save them from these demonic assaults or something like that. And I said, I can do that. You know, it's like putting your power away. It's like a lot of people still think you need to pay or you need to pray or you need to earn something in order to have the experience of freedom and of love. It's just basically it's just forgetfulness that you are all of those things. You are freedom, you are love, wisdom and power. We all are. It's just when you have these illusions that you're not, that you're separate, and you need to pray to this and that deity, or you need to pay for it, or you need to have this expensive class for you to move into an understanding of something, you know, that's not how understanding comes. Understanding comes through constant inner evaluation, pondering, the valuing, the cherishing of the inner Christ and what does it really mean. And it's a journey. It's not like this sudden answer and that's where it ends. It's a constant journey of initiation. And you know, some people just want to be redeemed. They don't want to work on it. They just want to stop and they want someone else to do it for them. But it's not how it goes. So ascension in truth is not something magical or something that just happens. It's a choice. And I was saying this to you all year long, and or if not longer, it's always this truth that it's a choice. It's a choice of you choosing to step into the liberation of your true sacred fire as to how you are in your truth, in your true first authentic genuine nature of your creation self. And yet it also is magical because of the experience that it provides. So it's not so obvious, and yet because you're choosing it, you're creating this magic. So you're bringing this light DNA into the physical, so it's a choice. And we're moving into this between the worlds phase now, as I've shared with you, into this new, which is wholly about choosing it wholly, not just partially. It always has to be this way. Once you make this choice, you're in it. It's not just in it for a lifetime. It's a cosmic kind of thing, if you know what I mean. So I had this recent experience. I'm going to share some of my experience as well, because this is where life teaches me the most. You know, I have a lot of people who say, I'm this and that, I'm that being, I'm this being, but they forget about the physical aspect. You know, years ago when I started this automatic writing, they shared with me, they said, you are a master soul, but now you're also becoming a master on Earth. So I'm going to share more about this in my future work, how this corresponds to our multidimensional ascension and, you know, not just this planet, but other realms, and how this is culminating in this cosmic convergence. Because every experience we've ever had has been multi-layered, has been multidimensional, and we haven't always seen behind it, because we see with the physical eyes, we see with the 5 basic senses, but we don't always understand that it has many layers to it, many aspects. So when we have these experiences, we have to know they're happening for the culmination of greater cycles and many star system light DNA encodings coming together and in a joined ascension. So it's in many, if in many previous, we felt previous lifetimes or star systems, we felt we've ascended, but it's almost like when the column of white light is moving into your body, you know, it has to, through the embodiment process, it has to go down to the very base, to the base of your base chakra, to the actual embodiment, when you really can incarnate that light of the Christed solar self. So the solar logos plus the great galactic spiral of the white mother light. So a lot of people talk about only the Christed path, and there's some people who only rever the goddess and this white light, but it's actually both, because it's the unison of the you and I as all in unity, the divine Holy Trinity. I talk about this all in my Cosmic Convergence workshop. So in my recent experience, let's go back to the experience element, which is very important, because the experiences are our inner child. It's the divine child, and this brings us the joy of growing in our wisdom as on our soul level. So my recent experience was going into the city. I went there for a weekend, and I saw how people are still in this dense mode, and the lighter we get, and a lot of us are getting so much lighter, we feel it, we're getting so light. I felt almost like hovering above all, but it's not a sense of better, lower, it's just a different frequency. And although we might still have this denser physical body, and remember, density is not bad, it's just an experience, it just is. It's not, again, better, worse. It's just with your natural progression, you will notice these stages of your movement and your energy movement, and every experience will be multi-layered, and the more lighter we are, we will see it from different angles and multidimensional aspects to it. So it happens, what happens is being integrated within us, all these different parts on many levels. So I'm going to tell you that when I went to the city, there was this moment when there was people dancing, and I was looking at them, and there was this moment of revelation that came, wow, you know, all these people, you know, drinking, smoking, all this frequency, and I was just observing it. I felt like this lighter observant, the observant self. I thought, what's going to happen to them? Where are they going? Where they're moving towards? And it felt almost like this separation unfolding, when you feel one with all, but yet you feel you vibrationally already shifted to this new world. And a lot of the experiences people are having now, and I felt it too, is you're almost like saying goodbye to the things that maybe previously interested you, or you've had them and you loved them, and all of a sudden you're like, I no longer feel I need that. You know, how I am is just, I moved here more than 2 years ago, a little more, and I've so loved the nature. And then after a while, I knew, Spirit told me that I'm going to this place to be a little isolated, a little more isolated with nature, to be connecting to this new natural space for ascension, because people ascend differently. And there's a lot of people who are in this group who resonate with what I do, who are ascending in this natural way, through the organic ascension, which is nature, and through the creation principles and all of that. And, you know, other people might choose a different way. And I'm not saying anything is better or worse, it's just different. And that's why there's different guides, and then people who resonate with those guides are probably within that group, that soul group matrix, that, you know, the creatrix that they're moving through. So when I had this experience, I really saw how it's almost like saying goodbye to the things sometimes you still feel you need, but you don't no longer need, because you already transcended that. So you're going to create new experiences, and we will create new experiences. And when I moved here in the beginning, I felt, wow, I loved it. I loved so much. And after a while, it felt, oh, so uneventful. Nobody's here. Nobody here is ascending. There's no beings here. Nothing's here, because I was just tuning into the physical surface layer of how things are on the level that's three-dimensional and dense. But there's other realities. There's other forms of existence. And this is where the magic lies. This is what ascension truly means. It's us seeing beneath that veil, which is the obvious, the apparent, you know, just with the physical eyes. We don't always see what is real. We sometimes see what we want to see, and most people still see only what they want to see. But in truth, our ascension is something that, even though sometimes it feels like an isolated experience, for the level of your personal mastery, we will need lots of those experiences when we need that solitude, so we can refine ourselves, so we can step into our mastery, because that's where we're going to be in the future, teaching and showing through our way of embodiment. And this is the age of preparation for a lot of us on this path as ascension pioneers, as masters of this new age. And when you feel that you're ready to let that go, that on the surface, you're really going to step into that magic. And when I embraced that, like I always did, but you know, on the deepest level. And a part of going to the city for me, you know, was also seeing that even if I feel I'm not doing what other people are doing, being in the crowds, meeting people, going to these gatherings, whatever, you know, seeing the events, I'm not missing out on anything, because that which you feel sometimes you're missing out on, it's not even a part of your experience anymore. It's too dense. You're like floating above it. And I had this feeling how this experience was multidimensional in many ways. You know, I went there, met this being, assisted this person, it was amazing, and then other things, and I felt, okay, you feel, I'm going out just for dancing. But for people like us, it's never just for this and that. It's always multi-layered. I mean, for everybody, but for us especially, because we're so deep, and the deeper you are, the more you have these multidimensional knowings. And you know, I'm so wide in the array of what I do, and sometimes it's hard for me because it's too much. It's like this and singing and that, and and they're doing the videos, and sometimes it's too much. But the lesson here, the balance and act here with the middle path is doing what is required for you through spirit, which was always where the greatest potential lies for the greater good in our soul expansion, is where the energy just is expressed how it needs to be in the moment. So a lot of this control, I need to do it this and that, and this now and this tomorrow. When I had this, it was always different. Tomorrow I'm going to do that, different. You know, tomorrow I need to record this or do that, different. Because it's like your higher self shows you, look, you know, it's not what you think you're going to do. It's what you're required to do in the now moment. If that is rest, or if that is to unplug, I don't know, even for a month, well, that's for the higher good. But we didn't trust this supreme life force for so long. You know, like in the movie Star Wars, they talk about it in terms of the force, which is all surrounding life force. It surrounds all life, and how you can feel it when you tune into it. And when I was reading Dolores' books, they basically called it, the way I received myself from spirit, they said the primordial, the original life force, which is the source. And some people, they said in traditions, they called it the Holy Spirit. I still love calling it the Holy Spirit because of how it sounds. So sometimes people who are of that tradition can know. But in truth, this is all life in creation. That's what Spirit said to me. It's like this all life in creation, everything that pulsates, that's alive, that's pure consciousness. And this is everything that created everything. And we will feel that, and we will feel which experiences are from that in terms of being really deeply in it. So with great depth comes great knowing, comes also great responsibility. And when we will feel these experiences on these multidimensional levels, we will feel just how much the importance of every level counts in, as in check in, not just the physical or the spiritual aspect or whatever. It's bigger, it's deeper than just that. It's just things, pieces that need to connect. It's you being in the right place at the right time. It's just things, you know, popping, click, 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 you know, and you have those aha moments. You always know you're in the right path, even when sometimes we doubt and you think you're not synchronistically aligned with the universe, you're not in the divine timing. Again, you're trying to control it. Let's say I was guided for a while now. I received this symbol, and Spirit guided me through the symbol to make a shift. And it was for months. And I knew that I'm not making a mistake by not choosing it yet. I'm going, let's say, to this trip or this place. And I felt, I'm not choosing the wrong way. I'm just waiting for the right divine timing. That's how it felt. And a part of me was just putting it aside for the real time. So it was there hovering, but it was still there. If the feeling of something is there, it's not going to leave you. If there's something that needs to be in your presence, in your experience, in your activation. But the part of us that fears we're going to miss out on something is what creates the separation, and what creates this mistrust. And we are all, with the Christ itself, we are the white mother light, it's all. But we just, as humans, we're still so, in a way, as a collective, so immature that we've forgotten and we don't know. So we're still in this unfolding stage. You know, most of the people are still just transitioning from what it is to be totally indoctrinated or in dogma or, you know, full of these beliefs. So they're just starting to wake up. What about those of us who already know all these things and we're just doing these last tads and bits and pieces of our physical embodiment so we can be refined beings of light? It's just different. It's just different cycles we're in. So we got to appreciate that where we are. Okay. So recognize your every experience is multi-layered and multidimensional. That will bring you all the peace you need, because sometimes things seem that way, but they're going to be so much more, and really respect that. So this movement, this new movement, requires also us saying goodbye to these old things and experiences, which is our transcendence and our mastery, and our vibration chooses. So what we do is going to be always a vibrational alignment. It's not good or bad choice, but it's a vibrational choice. Everything is a vibrational choice. So what we do and choose is vibrational. It's not always just physical, it's never just physical. And it's the essence of how we do it. So whenever we do something, let's say I go out this weekend dancing, and I don't ever do that. I don't drink, I don't, you know, do these things. But I say I want the experience of how it is to be outside and dancing. And I think maybe it's because of the dancing itself, but when I'm there, I'm looking at a bigger picture. So in truth, the only thing we really need to know is knowing what we're choosing. Not always understanding why, but allowing the divine to show us and trusting that divine within us and not making separation, bad, good, light, dark, just embracing it all. So every choice is neutral and we choose for ourselves as well as the whole. We carry these aspects that are aspects of whole. So it's also about embracing the nature of our purpose completely. I can share my own life experience with you that in my life, I always knew that, and sometimes I get these oracles or people telling me that when I had these initiations, that people will always come and go in my life because I'm meant to be there as an energy gateway, and they'll have their activations and they're going to move on and live their own lives of their own purpose. And a lot of times, that divine child within, which is not yet completely healed, this is what we're healing. We're healing the divine child, the creation experience. And this part can sometimes feel, oh, but why is it like that? But am I getting something in return? Why am I like this? Why is it lonely? All these things that can come up. And Spirit recently told me that it's very important for us to continue to ask these questions. Something happens and you say, oh, this is like that. And the question that activates you more, that opens you more to love is, but what else is there? It's always asking, but what else is there? It's like that innocence within us that doesn't just accept that first answer, which is, it is how it is. Your mind states it like that. But it's like, but what else is there? It's like keeps you pure and open, that you get greater revelations, you get bigger expansions of the truth. So coming into like greater wholeness of the truth is like different in different levels of awareness. Yes. So it's not just one thing. So people who seek for this ultimate truth, a lot of times they forget these aspects that are parts of this experience that are a part of that truth already. It's just the moment when we see it as this seeking and seeking and seeking of the light and seeking of the truth, we're going to continue to postpone it to the truth is something you have to seek for instead of something you are. And when you embrace it as something you are, things will start to resonate with the magnification of that truth in unity. So when we start to embrace this, like I had to embrace the nature of my purpose. Like, why am I so solitary? Why things happen the way they do, people come and go, instead of just being sometimes in agony and thinking, oh, I'm the giver, I'm always the giver. It's not the truth. I have to ask, but what else is there? But what else is there? It really opens you up and you see the bigger version. And sometimes, when I release, I get so many activations or feedback from people that really resonate with that confirmation of what's really happening on the bigger scale of things and how you assist the whole just by being you, because you cannot escape from your essence. It's just who you are. You cannot not be it. When I tune into the people, I just read their energy, and a lot of people might say brilliant things, but their energy feels empty or very non-joyful or just non-humble or just sad. Some people just say beautiful, big spiritual things, but they feel sad. Or, it's just the essence of truth is what just magnification of this consciousness that flows through you, which you can feel. And when we start to feel that, that's when we really start to connect with this cosmic pulse, the breath of life, the breath that comes through the core of our galaxy. And this is what my main work is focused on now. Everything is like this galactic shift, tuning into our galactic selves. So when we start to embrace this, my example was to live through service. A lot of people did not understand me. You say, I'm like this, or I have these moments that are not always pleasant, or these huge challenges, but they're initiations that bring your mastery into the physical. And when you can't share it always with the people because they don't understand, because they don't live that way. A lot of people, let's face it, most people still live just for their personal experience, and they want to manifest their perfect reality, perfect dream, this and that, which is, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's beautiful for people to live their dreams. I'm just saying that there's beings here. We're doing the work on different levels, and it's not even about us, because we already see everything as whole. And what I do for the whole. I can't see my reality only. I just was not built that way, ever. And people who don't have that awareness yet, or they're not on this path, they cannot understand. And if a lot of you were seeking that understanding and approval and wanting to belong, you're just seeking at the wrong place, because that place is you. That's the home. And a lot of us who were feeling like, oh, we're searching for this home. In truth, we weren't searching for home or going back, because in truth is we came here to bring that unique DNA light structuring of what was the purpose. The purpose is written in our light DNA, and that purpose was meant to be brought to this plane of existence, because this is where realities are merging. It doesn't matter where we are in terms of physicality. It's how we bring that light of awareness through our light DNA into form. So we came here to bring that light, the beauty of our home world, which is within and in our unique consciousness space, and bring it here. That was the real mission. So not to get, the Spirit told me this years ago that you didn't come here to get friends or gain followers or fans or haters or, opponents or whatever. You just came here to do this work. That's it. That's it. It's so neutral. It's so benevolent. And when we look at the nature of that, then all the drama just fades away. Whatever happens physically, it just transpires, but it's not the real eternal nature. I'm going to read you this poem I wrote at the end, which really covers that. So when we are looking at things through the layers, and the lens of service, we will see things differently. We will see the nature of this multi-layered reality. So in my life, as I've shared, these experiences were people coming and going, and if I tune into the mind which said, people sometimes say you have to manifest differently, having these relationships doesn't serve you, blah blah blah, and when I plugged into that, it was not my reality. And I said, look, every relationship I had was a part of my mastery, was a part of my training. And once we understand that, there is no sense of ever you making a mistake again in your life. You don't perceive things as mistakes. You only see evolution parts of the cycles in your life, your journey to refine your cosmic mastery. And a lot of us are in this path. So, more on that towards the end of the video. But these experiences, like I said, they're not divided into good and bad. They just are, and they're a part of something that our higher self has co-created with us. It was all created for us. Everything in our reality, whether we realize it or not, once we choose ascension, every experience will be for ascension. It will never be against. Even when you think, life goes against me, I have these errands, I have this physical stuff, it's against my ascension. No. I know how it feels. Because we feel these things once we move into the physical body, no matter how expanded our consciousness is. We can be the creator of the universe itself. You know what I mean? It's just a metaphor. But we are still in these bodies. These bodies are going through an ascension that is physical on this earth plane, in alignment, it was in parallel also with other ascension multidimensional experiences, but it is also just very seated, very rooted here. And it feels like it feels here on earth, and it's very primal. And we need to embrace that. The moment we do, we say, this is Earth Ascension. It's not all just, different other star systems, but it's Earth Ascension. It's Earth Mastery. And claiming it as a part of that cosmic heritage and mastery, okay? So this is important, and it all occurs for our ascension. The moment we trust and we don't put that separation, that label on it anymore, we will feel that peace and we'll feel that flow, and you can feel my enthusiasm, right? And this is in the signature, it's in the energy. The soul that knows the truth is always joyful, it's always enthusiastic, it's always in bliss. Even when it feels hardship, I get tired. Look at my thingies under the eyes. I get tired, I get restless, I can get frustrated at times, but this is just the surface layer of the experience. The real self for me feels such enthusiasm. But all life, it's changing, shifting, all of this, the miracle of life, the holy breath of life, and you can feel that in my energy, like I can feel that in other people who have that, and we are helping the seed of this enthusiasm that's so cosmically divine, together, we're seeding it here, those of us doing this work, so you know who you are. And the thing is that everything occurs for ascension after we choose it, and this comes back to that choice, right? Ascension is a choice, and seeing the multi-layering and interconnectedness of all the experiences, not just yours but of others, and how they correlate to your reality and how it's all for the greater good. So what truly is the Christ path? Like I said, it's not a goal, it's not a journey. A lot of people say when we're going to be fully enlightened, and that's always postponing something in the future. I've seen this in the spiritual circles when people talk about it, like it's this pathway. It is a path, yes. We need to be patient with it. It's a path of embodiment, but it's not a path of seeking it. I'm seeking to be more enlightened. No, it's just a path of refining in the physical embodiment. That's it. And when you make the peace with that and say in the higher planes it's all already enlightened, then you're just bringing it forth. That's all you have to do is just allow yourself to receive. And everything is so connected in a beautiful way. So in my own experience, I've written something here of assisting others through the fire of spirit and the freedom of being. People came and they went again, and this shift was for the whole. It wasn't just me giving to that person. It's because ascension is multidimensional. Every shift, every part you play in, every person's life, it's like, it's on the soul level that's much grander. So when we realize that, we won't have that, oh, I did this for this person, but they didn't do anything for me. That's so egoic. Once we let that go, then we can truly serve. Then we can truly serve through the Christ and the white matter flame, okay? So we can all do it. It's not just, you know, Christ in Mass. It's not just belongs to a few avatar beings and that's it. Avatar just means having a very broad scope of awareness and a mission that's not just our personal reality, just this earth, just this. This is what an avatar means. But it doesn't mean every single thread of creation cannot be encrusted and cannot be in the white matter light. That's all it means. So no separation here. In truth, when you help someone or something shifts, it shifts for the whole. So it's not something that only one person benefits from. It's all benefit, all the whole group and the greater group and even greater groups. And when we get that, we just trust that natural flow of life. So when people live their joy, it helps. It brings that joy essence into the whole. And I've helped so many people that just by being exposed to my energy, they've shifted. I had this experience this weekend. I went to the city. The person that was shifting with me, they shifted so fast, and just this choice they made. And sometimes it's just enough to make one choice. Everything else will come to you, but that choice you make is so important. And a lot of times just being present with each other, not teaching or coaching each other in that way, but teaching through humility, through loving someone, through offering them grace. And I love everybody who ever offered me grace, and we recognize that because it's a state of being, it's a frequency. It's not something they say to you or, you know, they do for you, but it's the act of love they share, the space they share with you and you share with them. So there are a lot of people who do something, but they want something in return, and I know the unevolved inner child has that tendency, and it's okay. You know, that's just a part of this healing and becoming whole again. But we are doing that work of embracing that it's just parts of us that are not fully whole and they're saying these things, but in truth we know what we already are. There's many who want to ascend, but ascension is not something where you focus on egoic needs. It's not something you just say you want to. You know, there's people I know that they're saying they're reading all these books, but it's not just the books, it's life. It's how you live it. Life of spirit is your biggest teacher. It's how you implement that. It's how you live your ascended reality and how you bring the wholeness to the whole. So you can't ascend through just your mind. It's a vibrational experience again. It's a vibrational change in embodiment. And only wishing it, it's just the mental energy which continues to postpone it to the indefinite. You know, there's a lot of people who, we all do that sometimes. You know, we say we have this goal, but we will do this or achieve that as we such and such, which is again conditional. And being aware of that conditionality already changes everything. It changes everything because being aware is the first part of your assignment. Then it's making the steps towards the change, following that guidance to change. So it's choosing this different vibrational experience. So people say, I want to ascend, and they follow ascension videos and writings and this and that, and everything is so much information. But they're still doing things that are vibrationally undermining them. And they're not allowing them to be in their full freedom and refining their bodies. You know, let's say you're still choosing to live this routine life. Work, same company of friends, going home, and always the same, and you're never expanding to... Ascension is also a change of your lifestyle. I made this beautiful blog on our ascending lifestyles. You can check all my blogs, and they're shared through my experience and my way of living. It's not just blah, blah. So there's a lot of blah, blah. You know, there's a lot of words I also share, but I need to live them. If I don't live them, you know, when I do these updates, how I do them, I don't just sit and write a bunch of stuff. I live my life, every experience I have, write something down, or I don't even do that, or just after a week or two of things gathering and always piling through my head, you know, when I go through my running, all I have is these assessments of what I'm going to talk about. That's my guidance, how it comes true, but it's all through my lived experience. And then I sit down, I write it down, and that's how the update is coming into being. So we can't ascend and at the same time we have these egoic tendencies and to live this habitual life which is not really focused on the greater divine service of the self. And you can read as many books as you want, but that doesn't necessarily imply ascension. You know, you can say I'm choosing ascension, I want to. Choosing ascending and wanting to ascend is not the same thing. So your heart needs to be in it, not just the mind. And the primary spirit connection, the primal life force of our life is that which we serve in this way. And it's unconditionally, so we don't just belong to someone or people want to couple up and have these twin flame experiences and this and that. But the thing is that real sovereign ascension path is not just coupling up, just living our realities. It's something much greater. It's how you serve in your enlightened self, in your Christed universal unity self. And a lot of people seek this belonging. They want to belong to someone. They want to have this communion together, which is beautiful. But until you also master the communion with all life and creation, then you're still just focused primarily on your own personal experience, which is good if you're in that level. I'm not saying, again, anything I say is not a judgment call. It's just I'm sharing these different various arrays of the ascending experiences and where you can tune into them. And then you make the choices of what you wish to vibrate and align with. So there's those of us, and Spirit showed me, because I always had people coming and going, that there's a lot of us who are so wide in the array of our inner dimensions and realms that we don't belong to anyone or any particular thing. Even that which I do, I don't feel a belonging to in a real sense. And Spirit shared this with me, that it's because we really just live a life of Spirit. It's coming, it's going, it's just being where you need to be, doing what you need to be in the moment without assigning a label to it or identifying it in an egoic sense. So we were reading, just recently, we're reading these wizard books, these beautiful books from the life of this wizard, and it's the same thing. He just goes where Spirit calls him. He doesn't have any belongings, any attachments. He just goes where he's called, like, the Jedis, the Force. And it's beautiful because how he shares, sometimes you have these epiphanies reading such simple books. They were supposed to be written for children, but there's such powerful wisdom in those books. And this wizard is just saying sometimes this profound wisdom, and the way he says it, I'm like, this is channeled. This is wizard energy. It's how it's like. And how he shares, it's nothing about being immortal or special. It's just being connected to Spirit. It's just following the steps and serving through that uniqueness of the creation self, which in his type would be to be a magician, to serve through what he knows as the gift of being a magician. And when we find that inner connection, that inner gift, tuned to Spirit, is basically all we need. So not belonging, not seeking that attachment, to belong to worldly things, people, possessions, but to belong to Spirit, to your true I Am presence. That's where we really belong, to all life in creation. So the body shifts. I want to talk about the body shifts now. Okay, I want to talk about the body shifts next. And I had this ascension flu for a few days, and I felt at first, oh my gosh, I exhausted my body so much, that's why I got it. But there's this whole spectrum to why this took place, that even, you see, that's this example, perfect example. We think, oh, I exhausted myself, so it's bad. Or we think, being tired is bad. And every time I come to nature, I get the same answer. Being a physical human being has all spectrums of experience. None of them are bad. It's not bad if you get yourself tired. It's not bad if you get yourself angry. It's not bad if you get yourself upset. It's not bad if you get yourself, I don't know what. You're not less enlightened. You're not, it's just you tuning into something. You created it. You somehow created it. It's nothing that belongs to any particular label. You're tired, okay. Next thing you do, what can you do? You sleep, okay. Okay, you rest, you go out into nature, you replenish. It's just about what you're choosing to do about the things that you create. It's so simple. It really is so simple. But we make it so complex because we are immature in the understandings of the great workings of Spirit and ourselves and our creation. So the body shifts, let's say you have a certain ascension symptom or something you need to go through. In my case, I thought, oh, I created this because I exhausted myself. But on another level, this was needed because when I have these shifts and the body cleanses, the body goes to a new level of vibration. So you see how the perfection is even in those things we would consider they're not good. But everything is a part of the greater good. We just don't see it. That's the only difference is it's still going to be for the greater good, but some people will see it and others will not, but it's still going to be same essence. So the ascension and the recent 11-11 energies, someone told me recently, haha, you're crazy. It wasn't the 11-11. Yes, it was on the level because it was the new moon on 11th with an 11 universal month. So it was a tiny 11-11 gateway. So don't laugh at me if you don't know what I'm talking about, okay? So the 12-12 followed the day after. So these were like huge expansions. And that's why after this period and this portal opening, we had so much coming through. Like these outpourings of information. And these were huge gateways as our old programs were shifting. And now our whole body feels different. We feel we sense things so much. You know, when I go out into the public, sometimes the people are smoking, there's this stench. I can feel it so much more. It's like, oh, we're more sensitive because we're refined now, and everything bugs us more. It's like, it's this inner resistance. You know, it's the same for our patterns. The more we will be vibrationally aligned with the new, the more we'll be agitated by those patterns because our body just can't hold them anymore. It's like the body itself as a container of light cannot hold them on that level anymore. So these shifts are happening naturally. If you find yourself having these ascension flus or whatever it comes, it's a blessing. It always is. And in the end, it makes you feel better because it's a purge and we're getting lighter, more floating, like I said, above everything and hovering. This experience with people and how we experience density now, it's different. And we're feeling like this plugging away, like this traveling away of this frequency. And it's not separation, it's just choice. So I had this ascension flu, and at the same time, I also had these very vivid dreams. I had 2 ET dreams, and they were so intense. And I was just needing to write them down. So if you have one of those experiences, please write that down. It's very important for you. You're getting important downloads, and it's not just this realm, it's other realms too. Just write it down. Stay in touch with your dreams. I mean, I haven't had so amazing and refined dreams for so long now. And that's where we are. So another thing that's really important, again, I mentioned this before with this coupling energy, is this ascended relating. Is because I still feel many people who are shifting and they're in these relationships that don't support their ascension. And this relates to this putting and postponing things on the indefinite time. Is a lot of people who are maybe the first time ascenders, or they don't yet know this, or they're having lots of this space, is they're still in these relationships that are not supporting their ascension. And until this, like this breakthrough moment, like this leap of faith moment, it will be serving them. But there will come a time when also there will need to be a separation from those, because a lot of these souls who are in such relationships, they kind of in their field, they have this hope that the other shifts, or they have this waiting. So what they do is they also vibrationally adjust themselves. They never have the ability to be fully authentic with these who are not shifting. Let's say it's their spouse, or I don't know, family or close family member. And they're kind of like secretly pondering and pining over the other would shift, and they're waiting, and they're kind of adjusting their frequencies to please them, to kind of be in a, not in conflict with them or even in compromise, but that doesn't work for long. As you ascend greater into your greater freedom, you will feel you no longer will want that. You will just want to be so authentic, share with everybody. And there's people who have this maybe in their family, but they will have good friends that will kind of be on their level. So they will kind of together, they'll create the space so they can support each other. They can feel more confident in being that way. Like I have sensitive people who are in families that don't understand them, or, you know, can't understand them. So they were afraid to share themselves as they were with them. But they're expanding so much just by saying, oh, you know, it's never about other people. They're your triggers of how much you can be in your power regardless of what, because that's what you've chosen. So what? The same way they're choosing for themselves, you're choosing for you. It makes no difference. And a lot of these people were kind of waiting for the other, or their families, or maybe their friend or someone close to shift. But waiting for someone to shift is not our purpose in Ascension. Ascension is your inner process. It's not about the other, unless the two other are coming together for a greater conjoined purpose of serving the whole. In the light of unity, that's it. Divine partnerships, I've shared many videos on that topic. Divine partnerships are not just coupling up and saying, oh, that's my beloved, wow, you know, wow, we're so happy together. There's so much more, right? And there's just the nature of this pure service. So if we wait, we kind of make this energy of pending, postponing, and it's not really being firmly grounded in the now, this experience. So it's time to let it go, and you will feel when this time comes for you, but really be courageous to feel it, because I know it might not be easy, but eventually you're going to come to this step when you're going to have to choose. Are you choosing others and waiting for them, or are you going to choose this new path? This is what the journey into New Earth is about. So we can block ourselves by staying in this old, by waiting. So postponing energy is almost like every time we say, I will do this when. You know, recently someone said to me, I will give myself this gift after I achieve a certain monthly payment dosage. And I'm like, what? That is so conditional, because you're already preconceively saying to yourself how it will be, and you're programmed yourself. You programmed yourself with that sentence, and we all did that or do that, or it doesn't matter. It's not, again, judging it. I'm just saying that becoming aware of it shifts the energy, how you can be more free, more limited. You know, I used to say to myself, I'm never going to travel alone, or I'm never going to do this alone, and the Spirit is pushing me to do some things alone just because I've limited myself. It's not about, you know, needing to have that experience so I can learn something. It's just about transcending that which you say, I will do it if such and such, because this is conditional. So this postponing energy, or sometimes people tell me, oh, I wish it was like this. Oh, they have this dream and it's so beautiful, but it's not reality. It's not grounded. It's not in the moment. And they keep postponing the energy, but their actions as a human are not aligned in that. Let's say their focus goes elsewhere. Let's say you dream of something, but your focus goes elsewhere. Let's say, oh, I dream of this beautiful relationship with this person, but your focus is always on work, 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 for example. This is what shows you your choices, and this is what constantly continues to postpone the desires of your heart into the indefinite future. There is nothing there, empty space, nothing. And we need to kind of, have this click, the inner aha moment when we do that. So I will, when I, or if I, these are the condition statements to watch for. So this is New Age and not grounded because your energy focus is not here. We create everything with the thought, but also not just the thought is that vision you get, but then with the focused intention. This is your energy, is how you work with energy. You need to command the energy. You need to state where you want to be at. That's it. If you're constantly like, but you dream about something so beautiful, it's always going to be the dream. And you're always going to be the unawakened dreamer. That's okay. Again, just be mindful of that. And illusions about that need to be shed, because now's the time, because so much clarity is available to us, but we cannot see it if we're like, oh, wishy-washy and here and there, but never here, like really here in the presence. You know, if you want something, don't wait for the monthly payment. Say, I want it now, get it for yourself, then the support comes. That's the basic mastery level of trust. So just saying, wishing things, you know, it's time to make it happen. That time is now, and we need to embrace and allow it. Okay, so this is that aspect, and I'm going to share something else with you before this video is culmination, culmination phase. Okay, so I wish to say some more words on the magical living and how, for a lot of us, this ascended state is not just connecting with other people, but different levels, different realities, different beings. So recently I got an email from someone telling me she has the sense of the presence of certain beings around me, and it got me to think about this, and I'm going to share with you bits and pieces of that. But I want to tell you that every being that feels a connection to a particular type of beings, like either fairies or, you know, elementals, or any kind of being you feel connected to, it's a part of your essence, or you were connected with these beings, maybe in parallel realities, or you were one of these beings, or somehow you have a purpose in sharing the truth about these beings. Whatever it is, there's your purpose. Because a lot of people write to me about that, and I always remind them back to the self. I take them back to the, you know, to the, what is your truth in this matter, in this regards. You know, like recently this woman had a dream about me holding a mermaid retreat, and she was guided to go somewhere, you know, to travel in this seaside location. And I said to her, well, I was just the image. I was showing to you what you desire. So what is that you maybe desire this to hold these mermaid retreats, whatever it is, and connecting with that essence. And she was like, oh yeah, maybe that's the truth. So that's the first aspect I want to share with you. Observe the things that attract you, which magical beings, which creatures, because that's part of your ascension. And in this ascended reality, the whole beings, some beings were hidden because not just they were shy, or they, you know, people can be all kinds of things when they kind of fear the unknown. So these beings had to remove themselves energetically. So now with our ascension, we're getting more aware of these different beings that surround us, the presence that surrounds us, with the life forces conjoined with all. So when you observe where you're drawn to, which beings connect to you, then make that conscious. Maybe do writing about it, connect to them. And this magical living means that we don't just, like I said, connect to other people, but we connect to different realms. I don't know, maybe some people will be more connected with the unicorn kingdom, some people with the flower essences, and the flowers are giving them messages of how to shift in the new. How do we handle working with flowers and essences in the new? And every one of us has a correlation to correspondence to the energy resonance we're here to share with. Like I connect with my group beings, and it's a group thing. So recently I've seen this movie. It was a beautiful movie. It's called Pan. You know, there's this new version of Peter Pan. it's such a beautiful version. I was like, because of the cinematography and how it's recorded and how they show the fairies and the elementals, and once they enter the fairy kingdom with the crystalline kingdom, it was like gorgeous, and that's exactly how it is. And I was so astonished. I really loved the movie. I was in awe, and I really connect with the elementals as well because of the nature of my purpose. And how they connect with me, and how they sometimes give me these gifts. And you know, a lot of people I meet even are fairy spirits, and I could feel them immediately because we have this connection, the fairies and my own beings and kingdom. It's like a unity effort of ascension. So recently this being shared with me about the sea squatch people, sometimes we call them the Yetis or the Bigfoots, or they got many names. And I was reading about them in Dolores Cannon books before, how and what they are, and different explanations. So I was thinking about it a bit, and the moment she was saying some things and how they made her conscious when she was looking at my videos that they're here present. And when I came here today and I meditated and reflected a bit on this, basically what I was shown is that every being, right, they have this correspondence of bringing awareness of the certain beings that talk through these almost like representatives, like the representatives for certain energy, so that they make people more aware of these different types of beings and energies that they share and the purpose that they have on this planet. So because I am so widely spread with the videos and what I do, they share that they wanted the connection of this to come towards me so that I can mention it, because I have a, you know, more global spread with the videos that I'm making. So basically these beings, after we made this connection with this person that shared with me about them and wanting to make me aware of them, I got already this epiphany, like very shortly, like, oh, wait a minute, I had this experience before I moved here. I think it was before I moved here, yes. I did camping here on the sacred beach. It was right that summer before we moved, at the end of the summer. And I was sleeping on the beach in my sleeping bag. And all of a sudden I wake up in the middle of the dream, but it was a half-altered sleeping state, altered state of consciousness. And I awoke and there was these beings watching me, and I didn't see them, I just knew them. I felt how they're watching me, and I was like, oh, hiding and looking away because I felt a bit unpleasant, someone watching you like this, and I felt there was many of them. And when she said these beings are around me and they're wanting me to be more conscious of them, like the sea squatch people, I felt, oh my God, maybe it was them. And I started to laugh, and it's like, oh, they're really not what most people believe they are. They're not dangerous or anything like that. They wouldn't show themselves if, you know, people don't say, you know, they have fears about it, because many times we are not connected with certain energy in terms of seeing it in physical or things like that, having a direct experience. We might be a little like, ooh, a little weary of it. So how I got this after we had that talk was that instant understanding. What Spirit showed me is that these beings, how they came into being, was basically very simple. It's, you know, when there was this experimentation and the bringing about the human race on this planet, there was, you know, even when we had these developed civilizations like Atlantis or Lemuria, there were always side to side these beings that were primary creatures, you know, like we call them the first Homo sapiens beings, before there was this enlightened Homo sapiens, like, you know, a book, a cosmic library of different star-seeded nations, different star beings putting that into their light DNA, so they seeded the new human race. But alongside these beings who were just these terrestrial beings, the primary Homo sapiens, they were evolving in their own way. So as they're terrestrial, but they can also be interdimensional. They can, you know, shapeshift. They can be in the space and yet physical and yet not. It's because they were evolving in a more organic way. Their DNA wasn't tampered with, so they were just these primary. They were used, you know. Their DNA was also used when the light human being was being created, and we are descendants of that. Although there was a stage of, you know, the fall and the forgetfulness and all of that, but these beings were also simultaneously. It's all about timelines, right? They were also evolving. So in their own way, they were evolving. So they're like offshoots, like offsprings. There's like different offsprings of energy. So they're like a parallel ascending being that have their own way as well. So all other creatures, in a way, they were evolving through their own timelines and their own evolutionary cycle. So once we become aware of that, they also have messages for us. They have messages of how ascension can be for us. They're known often as the Watchers. So as you begin to ascend, not just in your mind, but ascension literally means to be free, to be infinite, and also means to create with all infinite life forms. It's a part of it. And you will feel that these forms or beings that want to connect with you, they will come through you, and you will have maybe a purpose, and you have to listen to what they have to share. So a lot of the things they have to share are very natural, they're very primal, like about nature and things like that. And they're watching our patterns, and at the same time, you know, they're learning from us as well. So these parallels are always mirrors that in a way we're learning from each other. So I just wanted to bring this to awareness, because obviously this was how it was guided, because I had this feeling, and when I had the feeling they want to bring the message through, I was just sitting downstairs when it was still sunny, and I had this feeling, and I started to cry. Like when I cry, I know it's the truth. So I was like, okay, so I'm about to bring this message through for a reason. There's a lot of information shared online as well with people who are monitoring this and having their own recordings and experiments, so if you're interested in that. But my biggest initiative here is connect, allow the beings that want to connect with you to come through, and they will come through, and just, I don't know, go to the space of nature and say, I wish to connect to the energies they want to gracefully flow through, and they're part of unity consciousness, that they are workers of light, bringers of light and truth in their own way. So now something else that has to deal with this new energy shift is, because of all these events in the world, and I've did videos on that before, there's a lot of people now who are saying we need to send love and light to the planet and to this and that, but there's a catch, there's a tiny catch here, Spirit showed me, is that a lot of these mass meditation events and all of that are still feeding the energy to the old system. And the old system will continue to exist because we believe in it. Even your belief cannot be, okay, things are the way the Matrix says they are. It can only be as tiny as thinking, oh, I need to send energy to this because it's bad, or because we've had this control because we didn't trust the divine plan in motion, which always is, and we've wanted to alter things in our own way. We are already doing so much light just by being ourselves, by ascending in our way, by ascending to the truth, or truth Christed white light that we are. And we do so much with that, and we bring the uniqueness of light and speaking of truth. But a lot of the things, when there's these mass events, people say, let's send light to this, and it's almost like it's this need to, again, it's a lot of it is coming through need. I'm not saying everything is like that, but Spirit often surely reminded me, they surely reminded me that it's important to know what we are sending our energy to. Is it still feeding that old earth? Check that activation I'm going to record, the journey into the new earth, because this is where we really want to send our energy to now. And what are we really sending energy to is so important, because that's where our sovereignty comes from. A lot of people just follow events or do things because they think it's enlightened, because they think it's spiritual. Stop for a moment. Everything you do, stop. Reflect on it. You know, Spirit showed me that I, or May, Ascension Pioneers, we were never meant to do that. We're never meant to be part of these groups doing these healings, online world events. We were always meant to unplug from the system, not feeding it energy, completely dissolve from it. We're creators of the new. We're creators of this new energy system, and we're teaching people how to live in the new. But this means, you know, when we had this representation of the Jesus the Christ and his age, Spirit said in this day and age, what's happening is we're not just getting this one thing, one truth, this way, that way, through that one path towards the light, but people are not always ready for that ultimate. Because you see how it is, and they get something and they immediately get it through an agenda or a manipulated resource. So what people actually need now, where they are in their development, this is what will be delivered. So often when I think about the nature of things I know and I can share, Spirit says, only as much as it's needed. That's why I always listen to what's being presented through my life experiences in this moment, because this is what I'm meant to share, not beyond or above it, or certain things that are just for the initiatives I have in my courses, so that people get to choose if they're guided towards that. But in truth, it's very simple. We are ascending through the information we need to understand right now. I've shared this with you so many times before, and we need to know where we are holding this light. Is it in the old? Is it in the new? Are you still plugging into that imperfection of the old world? Are you letting it do its natural thing? Because imagine that this whole galaxy is moving to this new space. What can you do about it? Is just one meditation going to change that? It's certain things are going to be recycled. When certain things don't work in the creatrix of all, they're recycled. You know, like the basic computer programs, they're the same way. You do the defragmentation of the disk, you know, all works out perfectly again. There's certain fragments that go back into dissolution. So these parts that we feel they're unhealthy, they're unwhole, they're incomplete, they're in forgetfulness, they're going to dissolve naturally by just stopping all this fuss about it and feeding it energy. But we are creating this new template. So Spirit said it's much more important for us Essential Pioneers to create this new template, because this new earth is consciousness, it's already here. And the more of us gets to choose to feed that, to create on that template, the less we feed that old system. So it's very important. Don't just randomly participate in everything you hear or see online just because you think it's spiritual. That doesn't exist. It's a label. It's a judgment call again. So it's important that we support the new earth, no longer seeding the energy of the old system, sending to the old system, because it only survives through us feeding it that energy. So again, it's back to that new new earth journey, light activation. Check out on my webpage to see when it's available under my light activations. And I want to remind you towards the end of this balance of the Holy Trinity. This is something that I recommend to all of you in these culminating intense times, to remember the Holy Trinity, which is sound on top, the basics of all creation. Then you have light on one side, which is color, and then you have breath on the other part of the triangle. That all creates a sacred triangle. So you have sound, imagine Om, Omega. Then you have the light, the color, the spectrum, it's how that energy moves, and then you have the breath. So the sound is the all in creation, the source of all, the primordial force, and then it's all about existence. The color, the light, is about being and how creation travels, while the breath is about expressing, and it's about the embodiment. So when we do this, we're stepping aside from a polarized world. You know, I'm going to give you some of the examples of the world which was polarized through this dualistic force. You know, I was thinking about this week when I got the new Windows phone, and I thought everything is so polarized, and it's represented in our physical sense. You have day and night, right? You have South Hemisphere and Northern Hemisphere. Then you have USA, Eurasian part. You have like these two main parts of the world. And we have like Apple, Microsoft, and all these things are showing us where there's still this playing out of things of duality needing to come together to form again a divine trinity. So as you work with the aspect of sound, light, and breath, you're not just breathing, you're not just thinking your only breath, your only sound, your only light, you're creating to the essence of all, how it is in the true nature of all life and creation. So sound, light, and breath. So when you do this exercise, just imagine this divine triangle, this divine trinity of the golden white light. It's almost like descending as you're allowing to receive that, the truth of your creation self. See it descending through you as you are that, and you breathe that. So we're moving from that polarized world into the unity, to the polarized unity, and creating once again divine trinity. And towards the end, I want to add something. I've seen this video from a woman again. I don't really watch videos, but this was something brought again into my view site. And she was mentioning something about the sovereignty and the people who are not sovereign, and people who are in this path of being empaths and, you know, pioneers and light workers that often give power to other spiritual teachers just because they share information that's spiritual. I've said this to you so many times, like I've shared before. Someone saying spiritual things, doing spiritual things, presenting themselves is beautiful. Something like a representative doesn't necessarily mean they have something you need, or they are the ultimate. Or, you know, I always say to you, don't even take it from me. I don't care. I share what I am guided to share by spirit, but that's it. I don't want anybody to put my power over me. You know, pay me to pray to them, for them, to their goddess, whatever. It's like disempowering, and the truth is that we need to plug into our inner vision to sense people as energy beings, not just what is presented to us physically. So when she said that, I'm like, finally someone who says it the same way, because it's so important for the path of a sovereign being to connect to that which is crucial. And not everything you need will be part of your group. Not everything will be important for you. So if it's access through the mind, it's something you think you need, or you give it power, like, oh, this person has all the truth, or this is the whole, you know, nobody has all of the all, because every being here has their own galactic signature, has their own purpose, has their own seeding. It's all perfect. Once you get that, you won't think of people more spiritual, less spiritual, knowing more, knowing less. Oh, this person is a guru, that person is not. You know, this being once shared me someone who always says, oh, pray to my guru and he will send you blessings. I'm like, what? What is that? How disempowering is that? You know, you're only blessed if you pray to this and that being. It's all about your embodiment. It's all what you wish to bring through as your own inner essence, and how you connect to the unique presence of the I am that you are, and all of the source, and how you connect to the force. May the force be with you, right? And this is what this means. It's like how you embody it. And there's this beautiful message in this latest Star Wars movie, is because now this new disciple was a woman, was a young girl, and she wasn't, I love that they brought this divine feminine aspect to it. She wasn't even trained, she wasn't in the Jedi, she was just enthusiastic about it. And they knew immediately, they felt that she has the force in her, so she didn't need any teachers. I cried when I watched that part, and they said she's not taught, but the force is so strong in her. So you see, it's not something you learn, it's something you are. And she was, just the moment she started to awaken to that fact, and I'm sorry if I'm getting you a spoiler, if you haven't watched the movie yet, it's just a tiny little spoiler. And the moment she remembered, she got so powerful because she knew that she has the power with working with the force, and she started commanding, and you know, she was just so powerful. And she was, that role, I mean, even an actress played it so perfectly. It was the perfect representation of the power we have once we remember what it is to live that life of spirit, to work with the reinforcement of spirit. It's not just you as a person, it's just this reinforcement is completely divine. So I'm going to have to record this last part of the video here to really keep us going, because it was a long video and my camera battery ran out, so I have to use this next one, which is not as good. But I want to read you this poem of the truth, of our inner truth, and to really get us aligned with that pure simplicity of our heart that is always connected with the cosmic ascending spiral of the Mother Galaxy's light, of her pulsating heart. So many truths that are partial, one can get lost. We're all made of fragmented stardust. Seek the way home through the internal compass of the heart. Find the belonging of God's might. Nothing that is partial will ever stay. Only that which is real will in the forever remain. The warriors of light are here to stay, knowing truth as their only domain. So I want to once again remind you to read that awesome book from Dolores Cannon, Convoluted Universe, Part 5. The last chapter is about the whole universe shifting, our whole galaxy shifting. And as I was reading this whole chapter, as I've shared with you, there was immense tears of resonance, and the beings shared this purpose of, you know, the seeders of this galaxy and beyond, and how it is to be in this energy, and how it is to have this purpose. And I was just crying because so many resemblance to my path. And this woman who was that, you know, translator of that energy was giving this information that she needs to work with the shield of white light, because people often take energy from these beings rather than, you know, like being lazy, rather than doing their own work. And I've had this experience so many times, and I didn't always shield and, you know, use that. And I know how it can feel, because it can deplete you, not the work that you're doing, because the work that you're doing brings you joy and fun and excitement and expansion. But when people tap into your energy, and as I've shared, they said, well, it's natural for her to give, but not people to tune into energy and take from there. And I've shared this so many times. I've felt when people came on my path and they wanted to kind of, you know, I always say they drink from my fountain, but they can drink from my fountain. They try, but they don't know how to use that energy, even if you do, because it doesn't connect you to your own source. And that's why also I stopped doing all these readings and sessions and coaching, and I feel it's so not of the value of where we're moving next, because every being needs to connect to their own light of sovereignty. So this multidimensional ascension is this light data ascension on the many different multi-layers of our stellar nature. And Spirit, share with me today, I will do this course soon, hopefully in the beginning of next year, on the multidimensional ascension, and it will cover all these aspects of different star lineages and how each light quoting of DNA that these star beings were implementing, they actually were encoding imprints of the parts of themselves. That's what they were already involved with, the whole Earth ascending humanity drama being played out, this game And they had their part to play, because immediately you put parts of yourself in a certain equation, you are those parts and you're responsible for those parts. So I'm going to share about that. I'm going to hopefully do this course, and I really recommend this, like I said, this book from Dolores, because the whole book is probably the most awesome of all of these convoluted universes, and I was really excited to read in the end that she still has lots more material, although she's already passed into the other worlds. But they're going to gather all this material that's still left to create more content for the fans, which I really love, because these are immense triggers for my own journey. I had a lot of divine remembrance coming from these books, and I'm sure a lot of you have as well. Of course, it's important that you work with them in your own source to connect with your own vortex. But this last chapter really got me, because this being tuned into this galaxy, and how the galaxy is this pulsating heart, this love, and how we sometimes forget we're a part of this. And that's why I recommended to you this exercise with the holy breath of the sacredness of all life, when you tune into the mother galaxy and to our own galaxy of the Milky Way, and how you feel this descending into your body, and how then you cultivate your tantric life force through this holy breath of life. And again, as I remind you, as we do this exercise now shortly together, all of us, we just imagine ourselves in this beautiful triangle, in a triangle light. We see this white triangle, and we feel how on top of it we're pure sound, we're pure Om, we are all of the universes as one, we are all that sound which creates everything. And then as the sound moves out into creation, we become beings of light. We step into this sharing of ourselves, and we become our soul. And as we extend even deeper and we expand this creation even deeper, we become the pure breath. And breath is the caretaker of our embodiment. It's our physical experience. It's our experience of the sacred child. And it's so important to breathe. And as we breathe, we're also reinforcing the other levels of the Holy Trinity, because a triangle means all of the points are in balance. There's even angles on all three directions, which means that it's a harmonious experience. So as much as we enhance one level and work with the breath, we also do with the light and the sound. So it's very important to implement this into our ascension. And I'm gonna wish you this beautiful descending light of your true sovereign self. Stay observant with all that you're doing, engaging with, sharing, communicating, observing. All of it is a part of your ascension. And trust that every experience of your ascension is real. It's here for you. It's here to expand you further. And that's it for this time. I might come up, as always, with the Holiday Ascension Pioneers update for all of us as a group of, expanding beings here to assist all life in creation. So that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it's been very long. I wanted to sing something for you at the end, but I had this beautiful epiphany today. I've sang in this mountain valley, which is one of my sacred spots, and after it I said, oh, what's the melody already? I wanted to record it for everybody, and then I got this melody twice already, and I never recorded it, I never wrote it down, nothing, and it was in my soul, so it was in soul, but the moment I thought about sharing it, it's gone, no more melody. I said, okay, obviously not meant to be. So I know there was a lot of people who shared with me that they love this frequency that I bring through singing. Right now, what I do is just embrace the solace when I do it myself, because there were so rare moments when I get to truly unplug and do that recently, with all the shifting and the serving, the communicating and all of that. And I wish to do more of that next year, so please stay tuned. Enjoy your beautiful solstice, because it is our new year. See everything that comes through. There's so much pouring through as light encodement, light information. Whatever you're connecting to, write it down. Put emphasis on it. Either way, meditate, use the white light shield of protection before making any contacts with others. That's what they shared in the book, that before touching others, before coming into contact, if you are this pillar of light, it's really important for us, because not everybody is so empowered that they wouldn't want to drink from our fountain. So it's very important for us to empower ourselves, to protect ourselves, to know of the guidance that's already there as external protection with all the beings that support us, that assist us in our ascension, and to live our joy. Because to have physical experiences and events that really bring joy to us, like I enjoyed going to the opera and things like that, are also meaningful for our ascension, because they ground us to the essence of living things, to bring our life to the physical experiences. So it's not just going for the matter of the event itself, but it's also for us, like I said, we're this Trinity, and the divine child sometimes requires these experiences and grows through them and brings so much life forth through them. So if we negate this aspect of our physical experience of how it is to live in this world, a lot of times we'll have this feeling, wow, I can't live in this world. How do I live my own life? All I know is to serve, but part of this service is also this, is our lives, our joyful lives. So we can get very bitter at times if we don't do that. We can get bitter and frustrated. So it's very important. So I have so much joy at this time. The period between the solstice and the Christmas is the most powerful. And I'll talk to you probably after that with the holiday New Year Ascension Pioneers update and my sharing with all of us. So thank you so much for supporting, for being here, for sharing your feedback. So much love, as always, within grace, wisdom, and power. Take care. Bye-bye.